Hello, I am Ngamisile Pamalangubani, and this is the Entity Dynamics podcast. Entity Dynamics is a culture development consultancy where we believe that culture creates behavior and behavior creates reality. The title of this video is A Culture of Trusting the Process. So, I have an illustration of what this means. So, when I was in primary school at King's in Nottingham Road, I had an art teacher. Her name was Anne Faulkner, very good teacher, and all the teachers there were good and very interesting people, very unorthodox. Anyway, so Anne, I was like, I was drawing a picture of a horse, okay, because I love horses, and there were a lot of horses there on the school grounds. So I was drawing a picture of a horse, and it was just not coming together, and I was like ready to give up, and she was like, no. Just keep at it. You'll see it'll come together. And so I kept at it. And surely enough, it came together. And so this is what it means to trust the process. Another thing that she said to me, which is not really related to this, but I just thought it was very interesting, and I think it might be a theme for another video, is she said that I had to fill in the background because I just left it white, and I think I had drawn a few clouds and some birds or something. And she was like, you have to fill in the background. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, look around you. Do you see any patches of white, like the white paper that I was drawing on? And I was like, no. She's like, what do you see? I'm like, well, there's sky and trees and whatever, buildings. And she's like, yes, there's no empty spaces in the picture of creation. So when you draw a picture that is supposed to be a real life representation, you need to fill in all the spaces. So I thought that was just interesting to add in. Anyway, so trusting the process. There's also a little saying I saw once where someone asked, I don't know, Facebook or Twitter or something. Someone was like, does the process know that we are trusting it? And I thought that was funny, But also on a serious note, I think the reason why someone would say that is because I think, and this is my take on this whole trusting the process thing, because I know a lot of people have spoken about it. But my take is that the reason why sometimes you will ask yourself if the process knows you're trusting it or if it's difficult to trust the process is because I think oftentimes it's not our own process. I think it's someone else's process that we're trying to follow. And so it's difficult to trust it because there are some things about that person's journey which don't resonate with us, and naturally so, because we're all individuals with our own journeys, I mean, I myself have read a few self-help books and spiritual books by spiritual teachers and whatnot. And most of the time, I can find some good tidbits here and there. But overall, I can't model my life on what other people have done. I've tried it, it doesn't work for me, and I think that's the case with a lot of people. And I think that when you do internalize the process, well, actually, when you do bring the process from within yourself into the world, that's when it becomes easier to trust. But at the same time, we need to also unlearn the culture of not trusting ourselves. So if you already trust yourself, then it's fantastic. You're going to trust the process because it's coming from you. You are the blueprint. It's going to be fantastic. But a lot of us in this culture that we live in have been taught not to trust ourselves. We've been taught to trust experts and other people who know. And there's all sorts of people out here who present themselves as experts. But they're just people who are very assertive and confident in their abilities to lead, but they're not necessarily experts. Like I said in a previous video, the one thing that each of us is definitely an expert in is in ourselves. So we need to trust ourselves. We need to believe in ourselves. We need to believe, that we actually have our own best interests at heart, which I find very interesting that I even have to say that. But I, from my own experience, and I know other people I've spoken to, have had the experience where people have told them that basically they don't know what is good for themselves. Now, okay, it's one thing when you're in like a state of depression and self-destruction because you're depressed and angry and imbalanced emotionally. Okay, there one can say, okay, you're not going to be behaving in a way that is where the consequences are for your highest good. But if you've gone through a healing process, definitely you can trust yourself. But I think even when you're in a state of pain and trauma, if you can identify that you're in a state of pain and trauma and that you want to heal and you want to get out of it, you can trust yourself, because you can see, if you are willing to seek help for your issues, you can trust yourself. You can see that you do want your best interest at heart, but you've probably just gotten into a space of such despair because of the world that we live in and how dismissive it is of individuals and of their own inner light, their own inner darkness, their own inner truth, their own inner wisdom, their own understanding of love, that, people do rebel, sometimes to the point of self-destruction, But I think that if you know what you want to do with your life, even though you might feel stuck or dismissed by others or actively hindered in pursuing your goals, then I think you are someone who can actually trust themselves, because you're working towards, you have an idea of what you would like to achieve in your life, And I think also when it comes to trusting the process, which is your own inner process, it's to trust that even if what you are seeking to achieve in this life goes against the grain, is unorthodox, doesn't fit in with the mainstream culture of what success means, you should really just trust yourself and trust the process that you have developed for yourself. And the process, it's like a path. It's like a path through life. You know what I mean? You embark on a journey. You don't know what's going to happen for 100% along that journey, especially if you're trying to live a life which is unorthodox, which other people will tell you, no one's ever done this before. Then you're definitely going to encounter ups and downs, different turns in the road, unexpected acquaintances, unexpected encounters, And so if you know what your goal is, you can trust that whatever comes your way, you'll be able to handle it. You'll be able to maneuver through it. And you never know. You might make new friends, but definitely you will be enriched by the experience and you will learn new things, So I think majorly about trusting the process, and it being your process, is for you to communicate with yourself about what it is you're trying to achieve, and on a regular basis, be familiar with your plans. And then obviously you're learning about it. Obviously you're going to research it. You're going to try and optimize, the way you're going about it. But it's also to listen to your intuition, because we all are conscious beings who have access to the source of all knowledge. And so we will find ourselves, if we are in alignment with ourselves and we are really determined and committed to pursuing our goal, which we believe is our purpose for life on this planet, we will be helped along. It's like how Paulo Coelho says in The Alchemist, when a person decides to follow their dream, the whole universe conspires to help them achieve it. It's very, very true. In my own process of, developing this channel, developing this company, Entity Dynamics, this culture development consultancy, when I've been meditating, I've been receiving a consistent message that you are not alone and you've never been alone, And I think it was just a couple of days ago that it really hit me that really I'm not alone. I'm surrounded by spiritual, higher dimensional beings who have my best interests at heart, who seek my well-being, assigned to me by the Creator. And we all have these people, these beings around us. We all have them. We can communicate with them. It's not evil. They're not demons, and this is the kind of thing which makes us not trust ourselves to be capable originators of our own processes, So we have to unlearn so much. We have to trust that the Creator primarily loves us. The Creator is not trying to set us up for failure. And there's no such thing as failure, actually. But I'm going to carry on with that in the next part. Thank you.